Did you know about the miracle of Amsterdam?
Every year in March, a silent tour takes place in Amsterdam, a sacred walk, and the origin dates back to a miracle in 1345. In 1345, a sick man, he lives in the Kalverstraat, nowadays a famous shopping street, he lived like across the Amsterdam Museum. And the pastor comes to this sick man to administer the last rites, including the Blessed Sacrament, and he gives him the host. After consuming the host, this patient vomited, and the vomit was thrown into the burning fire in his room, in the fireplace. The next day, however, the host was still unburned. So the pastor was called for, and he picked up the host, which he took to the Oude Kerk. But up to 3 times the host reappeared at the sick man's house. Ta-da! A miracle. A chapel was built on the site around that fireplace, and it's called the Chapel der Heilige Stede, the Chapel of the Holy City. Well, many religious believers in the Middle Ages wanted to visit Amsterdam, not only from the Netherlands but also from other parts of Europe. And Amsterdam, which only had about 10,000 inhabitants, could barely cope with this storm of pilgrims. A special route was built to enter the city. From the current Overtoom, there was a route to the Kalverstraat, and the last part is still called the Heilige Weg, the Holy Road. A procession was held every year in March about this miracle, and pilgrims could then buy a cheap badge made of lead tin alloy, and with that you could prove in those days that you had been to the Holy City to do this procession. Well, then it was the Reformation, a time that Amsterdam became Protestant in 1578, and the Catholic faith was no longer permitted in public. The Catholic Mass was therefore sacredly held in clandestine hidden churches, and the procession was banned. Even the chapel got destroyed, statues were taken out, stained glass windows were destroyed during the iconoclasm. The monstrance, the silver beautiful relic, with the host was happily saved. Despite many protests, in 1908 the chapel, the remainders were totally demolished. But the miracle, of course, lived on. In the 19th century, the Catholic faith was allowed again. So in 1888, as a kind of protest, the procession continued as a silent walk. A document had been found showing the route that pastor would have walked from the house of the sick man to the old church with the host. So this route is now the base for an annual nighttime silent walk in March. The peak was in 1956 when there were about 80,000 participants, and the numbers are less now. People go less to church, right? We have a lot of welfare, a lot of a good life. So religion is a bit down, but there is certainly still interest. And the miracle is important. Amsterdam would not have been the city it is today. It has grown immensely, and if it did not have grown that immensely, it would have been looking like one of the small towns like Medemblik or Enkhuizen. Last year in 2020, this miracle of Amsterdam celebrated its 675th anniversary. Everyone can join the silent journey, the silent walk. You don't have to be a Catholic for that. The miracle was before Luther's time, and that is before the split into many different Christian faiths, and a Christian was a Christian. If you don't want a walk as a religious person, you could join anyway, or even help out as a volunteer to help the groups cross roads, because there's so many of them. Attending in whatever way will lead to really amazement. The silent walk, you will only hear the sound of footsteps in the night, hundreds of people. Too bad that due to Corona this year in 2021 there will be a digital version, but hey, then you can participate from home. A painting of this miracle can still be seen in the Chapel of the Begijnhof, and that is a small chapel where they got the miracle, the painting, on loan, so you can still see it. And if you'll ever be back in Amsterdam one of these days, in 1988 there's a pillar now, a monument on the Rokin, as a reminder of the demolished chapel, the Heilige Stede. It's only a small tribute to a great story, but take a moment to think about it while rushing by.
Thank you for watching, and please look at my YouTube channel for other different movies. Thank you. Bye.